to visit the area Sunday. CNN's Chris Lawrence is in Pensacola and joins us now. Chris.
Well, Candy, right now from where we're standing west is virtually cut off from the rest of the state of Florida. That's because Hurricane Ivan destroyed an entire section of Interstate 10 right along Escambia Bay. Let me step away now and you can take a look. Witnesses say it looks like a giant hand grabbed the highway and jerked it out of place. Officials tell us it's going to be closed for a significant amount of time. And with I-10 being the main east-west route through the Panhandle, that's going to have a big effect on the entire state. Now, there's also a truck, if you can look, the back half of a trailer torn in two. The cab of that truck and its driver are missing, and police say there is an oil slick in the water right by the break. Just about an hour ago, we did see the divers out searching for the driver of that truck. Now, earlier today, Governor Jeb Bush did get his firsthand look at some of the devastation. Governor Bush took a tour of the damaged areas, an aerial tour, beginning downtown and touring many areas of the Panhandle. It's something the governor has become accustomed to in the past couple months after Hurricanes Charley and Francis. And basically what he saw was just sheer devastation. Homes destroyed, trees down, power lines snapped. Right here now we are without power. It is completely dark at night. You can't flush a toilet. There is no running water. And it may be several weeks before things get back up to speed and running. Candy?
Thanks so much, CNN's Chris Lawrence. It's hard to believe, Chris, looking at you against that backdrop, which is beautiful, that there is so much devastation to be seen from where you are. Appreciate it. Bare-knuckle fighting on the campaign trail.
Piles of brick and wood.
It was dark black, and everything was just spinning in it. It was just spinning, and stuff was shooting out of it. And that's when I started screaming, because I thought that we was going to die.
And we are not done with Ivan yet. Now the system is spawning several dangerous tornadoes along the East Coast.
Live from the Weather Channel, this is Afternoon Outlook.
Hello and welcome to Afternoon Outlook. I'm Vivian Brown.
And I'm Nicole Mitchell. Well, what's left of Hurricane Ivan is creating quite a mess along the East Coast this afternoon.
That's right. Now, parts of Tennessee, Georgia, and North Carolina are seeing flooding rains, and the tornado tally is increasing every couple of hours.
So let's go now to severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes. Greg, where is the greatest threat right now?
It's across Virginia and North Carolina, heading toward the Washington, D.C. area. That's for tornadoes. Around the Pittsburgh area and the tri-state area for major flooding. Look at all these red thunderstorm cores here coming across, getting close to Richmond, getting close to Washington, D.C., and in the Raleigh area, 79-mile-per-hour wind gusts at Raleigh-Durham International Airport, and then big shield of heavy rain falling across the Pittsburgh area. Let me show you the conditions that are making for this tornado outbreak. 5 to 10,000 feet, 50 to 60 mile-per-hour winds coming in from the south in blue, 15 to 20 mile-per-hour winds at the surface coming in from the southeast. You make those winds turn with height. It allows us to get supercell thunderstorms. This is very much like a big spring tornado situation, and we do have a number of tornado warnings, tornado watches and warnings, and all these counties shaded in red have tornado warnings. In Virginia, Rappahannock, Warren, Caroline, Fauquier, Amelia, and Greene counties has been a tornado sighted in Caroline County around the Golensville area, moving north at 45 miles per hour. Damaging winds moving across the Raleigh metro area. That line of thunderstorms extends down into Fayetteville as well. Satellite picture switching sources shows us the big spinning circulation associated with the remnants of Ivan. A lot of sun out across eastern portions of Virginia, North Carolina. That's making it very unstable. And as a consequence, we're getting those supercell thunderstorms with a heightened tornado threat. 13 already today, 63 all told, with Ivan on its way to perhaps second, third place for most tornadoes ever from a tropical storm.
Well, thank you, Dr. Forbes. And, of course, the Northeast is really getting pounded today.
Oh, yeah. Not only the severe weather, but also flooding is a threat. Take a look at our radar, and you can see the darker greens, the embedded yellows showing some stronger storms. But we talk about all of this tropical rain moving into parts of the Northeast. You know what that means? That means that flooding is definitely of imminent concern. Not only do we have the rain, but the clouds. So if you don't have rain, you're definitely reporting over overcast conditions from Boston to Hartford, Providence, New York City, Philadelphia. And here you see the flood watches. They stretch from New York City down to Philadelphia and much of West Virginia, the state that is, into the state of Virginia even, with flood watches over the entire region. So the clouds and the rain keeping it very soggy, and it's cool too, holding the temperatures at bay. Only in the 60s right now, 63 in Albany, 79 though for you, Boston, 75 in New York City. Now the frontal boundary will continue to push eastward. That moisture from Ivan still a factor though tomorrow. So scattered showers and thunderstorms all across the megalopolis from Boston to New York, Philly, Washington, D.C. And we're looking at forecast highs cooler tomorrow than what we've seen so far today. Boston not getting out of the mid-60s. Much better though for you on Sunday. So if you could just hold on, the second half of the weekend looks much better. Look at the sun returning for you, Boston. Still a little chilly though, only 62 for the high, and partly cloudy skies in New York with 69 on Sunday. That's a look at the Northeast. Now let's check on the Southeast with Nicole.
And many places in the South breathing a sigh of relief today as some of our forecast continues to improve with this low pressure continuing its way up the East Coast. So we're going to see less rain in parts of the South, while the East and parts of the Central East Coast see a little bit more of that rain in the forecast. So what we're going to continue to see is a lot of this moisture pushing out. We could still see a little of it linger for a couple states over the weekend, such as Georgia and the Carolinas, but most places looking pretty good. The Gulf Coast looking great. You need that with all the cleanup efforts that are underway there right now. Any place seeing the moisture, you are seeing cooler than normal temperatures, many temperatures in the 70s, still very hot. Texas up through parts of Oklahoma. You're going to stay steamy for the next few days with lots of sunshine. So here's how that weekend forecast looks. Again, most of the region pretty dry, still a couple scattered showers into parts of Florida, and then up a little bit more into the central part of the East Coast, where you're seeing the moisture temperatures in the 70s, the rest of the region 80s and 90s. And then for the day on Sunday, again, a little bit of that moisture could return to places such as Georgia and the Carolinas, as I mentioned. But again, most of the region is going to stay dry with temperatures in the 80s and 90s once again. Now, quiet for now, but we're watching very closely this tropical storm Jeanne right now. And as it continues to make its way kind of meandering to the west right now, we're going to watch where that goes for the next couple of days. So right now, winds to 50 miles per hour, but this had been over land. Now that it's going to get back over the water again, it does look like it has at least the potential to intensify over the next few days, and really nothing to steer it anywhere other than toward the United States. So that's something we're going to have to watch very closely over the next couple days. And Tropical Storm Carl, worthy of mention, but we love Carl because it looks like it's just going to go out to sea and not affect anyone.
Okay, yeah, that makes it much, much better. There are major changes in the forecast for the West, and it might mean an early snowfall.
We'll have more on that after the break and a live report from the damage from Ivan. First, here's a look at your local on the 8s. Well, Ivan is moving toward the northeast tonight after already dumping several inches of rain on parts of Florida, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee.
ABC News' Eric Hung joins us from Pensacola, Florida. Now, Eric, Ivan made landfall early yesterday morning. How are the cleanup efforts going there now?
Well, very slowly, Vivian and Nicole. The physical cleanup hasn't even really begun. People have not really started beginning that task. It's really hard. There's so much destruction here. It's hard to know really where to begin. We're standing in one of the worst hit neighborhoods here in Pensacola, right along Pensacola Bay. The storm surge came in here and really laid waste to many of the homes. You can see what the wind and waves did to this particular neighborhood. We are told it swept parts of homes into the bay. In some cases, it actually landed some of the boats from a nearby marina into the yards of some of these homes. Throughout the day, we've watched as the residents here have sort of just stood in stunned silence, taking stock of their loss. Many of them have brought video cameras to document what this storm took away from them. These people, though, are the exception, people who are actually getting a chance to view their properties. Most people here in Pensacola are still in shelters or still out of town, not allowed back into these neighborhoods because they're still deemed too dangerous. There's a lot of debris, a lot of destruction still covering roadways, down power lines. Officials are saying it could still be a few days before all the evacuees are allowed back in.
And have you gotten to travel a little bit or heard stories of where exactly the worst damage might have been with this storm?
You know, we've been here a couple days now since this storm came through, and this has got to be the worst neighborhood we have seen at this point. The combination of the wind damage and the storm surge damage really did a number on these homes. We spoke with one man who returned earlier today. He didn't even recognize his block. He actually was looking at what he thought was his neighbor's home, and then he did the math and figured out that his neighbor's home had actually been destroyed, and that that was actually his home that he was viewing. So that gives you an idea of how Ivan scarred the landscape here.
Well, incredible stories. Thank you for those, Eric. And of course, now we want to get a look at other parts of the country, including the Midwest.
That's right, because the Southeast certainly felt the effects of Ivan, and now the Northeast.